At the end of the second chapter, Lord Sri Krishna concluded by saying that the person from whom all desires are gone and who is free from attachments gains tranquility. Vihaya kamanyas yas sarvan pumanscharati nispruha nirmamo nirahankaraha sa shantim adhigacchati. What he really implied was, since the wise man with balanced understanding and composure knows that his true nature is happiness and nothing else, he naturally grows out of the desire to become happy by gaining objects. This wise man's happiness does not depend upon presence or absence of things in his life. Arjuna, however, understood that this statement to mean that one must give up all the desires in order to be happy. He thought by withdrawing from this material world through renunciation, the world would become easy for him to understand and he will ultimately reach that stage of enlightenment. What he also remembered was Sri Krishna saying, Hato va prapsyasya swargam jitva va mokshase mahim tasmat uttishta kaunteya yuddhaya krita nishchaya. If you are killed, you'll gain heaven. If you win, you'll enjoy the kingdom on this earth. Therefore, a son of Kunti, please arise, determined to fight. Arjuna was totally confused because he thought he was getting mixed signals from his teacher. Arjuna mistakenly understood that the knowledge and action were opposed to one another. He thought by giving up desires was the only way to go. He felt that every desire prompted action can bring about only bondage and not freedom. He wondered why Sri Krishna, a divine incarnation, an inspired teacher, would then advise him to get up and fight. But he was appropriately respectful towards Lord Sri Krishna and said that perhaps my own understanding is inaccurate. And indeed it was. And hence used the words like seemingly confusing while asking for help from Lord Sri Krishna. He said, Jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddhir janardana tatkim karmani gore mam niyojayasi keshava vyamishrevena vakyena buddhim mohayasi vame tadekam vada nishchitya shreyo ham apnaya. To translate in English, it is your conclusion, O Lord Sri Krishna, that knowledge is due to action. Then why do you direct me to do this horrible deed? The mind is confused with words that are seemingly confusing. Tell me definitely one single means by which I may gain Shreyas, the ultimate bliss. Arjuna's confusion was based upon total misunderstanding and a wrong chain of thoughts. He thought by asking to perform action, such as this particular fight, the outcome can only lead to the chain of expectations, results, judgments, reactions, and inevitable problems at the end. There will be no time or opportunity to contemplate upon God or oneself. In that case, why does my guru, who is counseling me, to engage in this action? The problem of likes and dislikes, let's address that first. Each one of us lives in their own private world, conditioned by the society, culture, religion that we practice, and upbringing. One likes objects, possession of which one thinks will make one happy. One dislikes objects in the presence of which one feels he will be unhappy. There are some objects and beings to which one may be totally indifferent, presence of which or absence of which makes no difference whether you're happy or unhappy. Yes, positive, negative, neutral. The fact is, each one of us does not see the objects as they are, but only as they appear in our own mind, our private world of likes and dislikes. Everyone has a separate private world. This is either because of our past experiences, more often preconceived notions. We do not only have likes and dislikes, we have values for those likes and dislikes. And those likes and dislikes are the very fabric of our own personality. We cannot ever completely remove the likes and dislikes, just like those unwanted weeds in the garden that we have every year in our backyard. But even when we perform any actions prompted by our likes and dislikes, if we do not react to the outcome or the result based upon those likes or dislikes, but react objectively, our likes or dislikes will not create a feeling of success or failure. By accepting that outcome as a grace of God, grace from God, we can maintain a balance of mind. Only thing that we have in our lives, our own efforts and perseverance, prayatna, kala. The rest all depends on the divine grace, Daiva. Like and dislikes are indeed the major obstacles to gaining the knowledge. When the teacher tells that each living being is Satchit Ananda, one may accept for the time being because one respects the teacher. However, once the class is over, one cannot really own up to the teaching that one indeed is a limitless happiness until these likes and dislikes are neutralized. I said they cannot be destroyed, they're always there, but they have to be neutralized by a different approach altogether. Now, Arjuna is not an average human being. He is not afraid to go to war. That's not what he is putting. He's quite confident about his victory. He's only concerned about the ultimate outcome at the end of the war, which would cause the death of many of his friends and kinfolk, including some individual he dearly loves, for that matter reveres, like Bhishmacharya and Dronacharya. A good teacher, whether radiologist or not, can see the confusion in the minds of a disciple. So Sri Krishna fully understood the confusion in Arjuna's mind and started explaining in detail what really speaking he had concluded completely in the second chapter that we did in the previous discussion. So he opens up with a sentence saying, Lokesmin dvivida nishtha pura prokta maya naga jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. In this world, a twofold path was taught by me from the very beginning. That of Sankhya's by devotion to knowledge, and that of yogis by devotion to action. Karma yogis and Sankhya yogis. The pursuit of knowledge was appropriate for those contemplative individuals through renunciation, whereas for the active ones, those who are householders like us, samsaris, performance of the actions assigned by the stage in life and the chosen profession, but with right attitude, is the way to gain the knowledge. So those are karma yogis, as against the renunciate sannyasis. Two lifestyles, sannyasi, samsari. By following the path of karma yoga, the mind is made ready to gain the wisdom. In reality, not even for a moment does anyone remain without performing action, regardless one is a renunciate sannyasi, or a household. Nai kaschit kshanavapi jatu tishthascha karma. Your heart still beats, you still breathe. So you are always doing some action, so don't deny because I am sannyasi, I am not doing anything. Then karma yoga is mastering a healthy attitude towards action. Action is inevitable. But when you master that with a healthy attitude, then you're in good shape. How do you do that? By overcoming the likes and dislikes, by looking at the things objectively. And how do you do that? By graceful acceptance of any outcome after having given one's best and performing every action in the spirit of service to God. Then you are in a position to gain the ultimate knowledge as to your true nature and then live the rest of your mortal life as a Jivan Mukta. Jivan Mukta, the moksha does not come after death. What comes is living life when you are still alive. But then we'll talk about that a little later. As a matter of fact, if you remember in the second chapter, Sri Krishna had said in the 47th verse, Karmanyevadhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana ma karma phalaheturbu mate sangotsu karmani. To translate one by one word, you have choice, only your action. Your free will is only over your action. Karmani eva tava adhikara, tava te. But not over the results at any time. Ma kadachana phaleshu. Do not take yourself to be the author of the actions, author of the results of the action. Ma, no. Bhu, become. Karma phala hetu. Do not take yourself to be the author of the results of the actions or remain attached to inaction. Mastu te or tava sangaha akarmani. Remember, only the last line is, in that verse, is the advice given. What is that? Ma karma phala bhaiturbhu mate sangotsa karmani. The first line is like a statement of fact. Like water boils at 100 degrees centigrade and freezes at 0 degrees centigrade. Basically, what is it? Karmani eva te adhikara. Statement, period. Ma phaleshu kadachana. That's a statement of fact. Advice is basically about the second one. Second line is the only advice. What he really meant was, with that free will and the choices offered to us, we as human beings are only karmadhikari, but that is all. Human beings are not the authors of the outcome of those actions performed through that free will or the choices made personally. There are two defining statements. Again, it came in the second chapter. Those are samatvam and kaushala. Samatvam yoga uchyate and yoga karmasu kaushala. Samatvam yoga, sameness of mind is yoga. Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Sameness of mind is yoga. Now, this sameness is possible only with the reference to one's response to the results of action. The action performed can vary, and so can its outcome. So that is variable, no question about it. But how you respond to that results of action, that has to be controlled, same way. However, what needs to remain the same is the way one reacts to the outcome of that action, whatever the action or whatever the outcome. We were in Sellersburg, Pennsylvania about 1,000 years ago, many, many years ago. At that time I remember Swami Dayananda telling us a story about a man who comes precisely at a specific time out of his house to catch the bus to go to his office. Came exactly the same time, not like Dagwood if you see in the cartoons. And he had to cross the road to catch the bus. But several outcomes were theoretically possible, he said. One, as he crossed the road, one of his friends working in that office came by his own car and picked him up. Wow, best result. Or while crossing the road, he was hit by a rickshaw, which is very common in India. That's a bad news. Or maybe he gets to sit next to a girl he always wanted to meet on the bus. Or he may miss the bus completely because the bus came a couple of minutes early. The outcome is not in your hand. What you do is in your hand, but you have to accept the outcome with the sameness of mind. The other story he told that day was about a man who goes for a job interview. After the job interview was over, the one who was interviewing him offered him a raffle ticket. He thought that maybe if he buys the raffle ticket, he might get the job. So he buys the raffle ticket and got the news the next day saying that he has not gotten the job. Was about to get upset, but the guy who was calling at the other end said, but by the way, the raffle ticket that you bought gives you a prize of $80,000 worth of Lexus car. So again, outcome is not in your hand, but you have to still accept the outcome with the sameness of mind. So what we have to do is exhibit the qualities of karma phala svikara samatvam. Karma phala svikara samatvam. That means how you accept the outcomes, that has to be samatvam. So hence, we have to maintain the attitude of equanimity, sameness of mind to the various possible outcomes of any action. The choice with reference to action that should be performed when living dharmic life is to go by the right or wrong determined by our scriptures, even if the choice is against one's personal likes and dislikes. You still have to fall according to the law of dharma. We must remember that all our human capacities are only because of God has bestowed on each and every one of us. Thus everything that what we do are able to do, we must do that as an offering to God. Such an attitude can steady the mind against the influence of likes and dislikes. It can also inspire us to do our best. Because if you are trying to please somebody, you do your best. You play for the coach. You're getting inspired by the coach, you want to make sure you make him happy. The same thing applies to doing something special because God has inspired you, given you those capabilities. We have the privilege, no question, to perform any action. We should perform that action by taking as much time as we may be required to take it and put forth our best efforts and with intense concentration. These are the only two things that we have under control. Again, prayatna and karma. However, we do not have any control on the outcome which is based upon as additional unknown factor, totally based upon the divine grace and our prior actions in this and past life, that is Daiva. The outcome can vary greatly from one end of the spectrum at the right time at the right place to being at the wrong place at the wrong time. Karma yoga can be accomplished with such evenness only when one accepts the presence of Ishvara. Once we accept the results as one's actions are not in our control but instead are taken care of by the law of karma, the author of which is Ishvara, Bhagwan, who is endowed with jnana, knowledge, vairagya, dispassion, secondary to knowledge. Once you have gained the knowledge, what else you need? So that's why you have dispassion. Virya, absolute power. Yasha, victory, success. Shri, all kinds of wealth. And Aishwarya, overlordship. God is both intelligent and material cause of creation, nimitta and upadan karana, and doles out the outcome and is the only karma phala data. We have karmadhikari, God is karma phala data. And we got karma phala svikara samatvam. This sameness of evenness of mind, samatvam, means react to the outcomes dispassionately one accepts the outcome without being too elated or depressed. The yo-yo response is when one gets too excited when the outcome is beyond expectations or expected, winning the Super Bowl or World Series and you burn the house cars. Or getting destructive or suicidal when the outcome is the other way around. The second statement which I mentioned to you is Buddhi yukto jahatiha ube sukruta dashkrute tasmad yogaya yudhyasva yoga karmasu kaushala. Yoga karmasu kaushala. That means skill in performing an action is yoga. It's kind of superficial translation, but to elaborate a little more. Really speaking, skill in accepting any outcome, skill in accepting any outcome as it is doled out, after having given one's best, and maintaining the patience of the mind regardless of the outcome. That is karma yoga. Merely performing any action or performing even any kind of a special skill without recognition of Ishvara is not a karma yoga. Because it will be done according to the dharma. What do you mean by that? Because a bad action done skillfully, like a pickpocket in Chowdhury in Bombay, or the Jesse James going to the banks, robbing the banks, they may be done skillfully. I mean, they recently found that big robbery in England, if you remember. That is not karma yoga. It has to be done according to the values that are set forth for dharma. The correct understanding of this skill hence is the performance of action with the attitude that all results are shaped by the laws of Lord, God. They come from Lord and are gladly accepted also for that very reason. By cultivating such an attitude, one no longer suffers sorrow or any kind of regret that might arise when the result of an action falls short of one's expectation. Remember, neither the action nor the result creates bondage. Neither the action nor the result by itself creates bondage. Instead, it's the reaction of the mind to the outcome of the action that brings the bondage. To be free from such bondage of feeling limited, I'm incomplete, really your complete happiness, or sorrowful because you thought you did not win. One must understand that having chosen an action, one should accept the result as a prasada. One who has the attitude of a karma, prasada. The outcome depends upon so many things that we frequently don't fully comprehend. Here goes yet another story. The friendships are formed by in a unique way. There were two friends. One friend was absolutely religious and he stopped at every temple that he came on the way. They would go up together. And the other one never accepted God and never stopped. One day, the first one got stung getting out of the temple, whereas the other one found a silver dollar on the street before his friend joined him. They shared their experiences and they were totally surprised and confused. How could it be? I mean, you go to the temple and you get stung, and I never go to the temple and I got a silver dollar. And they went to an enlightened guru and asked for clarification. After hearing the story and looking their horoscopes, he deciphered the true meaning of both of them. The first one had a mrityu yoga that day, while the other was supposed to find a large treasure on that day. And when you look at the outcomes, he survived, just got a scorpion bite rather than dying. But the other one, instead of getting a huge treasure, ended up getting a silver dollar because the value of silver varies. So then brings back to the graceful acceptance of the outcome, prasada buddhi. Every outcome must be accepted exactly in the same spirit when we receive prasada after the worship. What do you mean by that, prasada? Typically when we have already had the lunch, and somebody comes with sweets in the hand and offers you, even if you like it, Vatsal, I understand it, you will say that, no, I just finished my lunch, and no, I don't want it. But the moment, say, I just returned back from the temple, and these are not simple sweets, they are prasada, then, okay, you'll take a piece, because you wanted it all along. But point is, you'll take it because it was prasada. It is a totally different value whatsoever of the same thing. One is just sweets, and the other one is prasada. Why does it happen? Prasada means absence of sorrow. Once a situation is accepted as prasada, our mind enjoys prasannata. Prasannata is cheerfulness. This cheerfulness is a blessing in itself, because when it is present, our likes and dislikes are no longer capable of creating any reaction in our mind. A simple example. I don't like yogurt, but Panchamrut always is there in the tirtham that is given. If it's given, I'll take it, but otherwise I don't touch the yogurt. The question is, that comes in a totally different way. It is accepted as a prasada. When one obtains a result, which is not what one expected, be it success or failure, quotes unquote, those likes and dislikes are neutralized if one accepts that outcome as a prasada, prasannata, accepting as a blessing. The reverent attitude that one shows to a prasada is the prasada buddhi. A graceful acceptance of whatever outcome comes to you after having given your best efforts. If it is not given best effort, then that's not what I'm talking about. Again the same story, when you go to grocery store, barleys or lunch, you go to pick up a perfect fruit without the slightest blemish. But after the puja, when the apple is given a little damage on one side, you'll still eat it, consume it, and as a prasada. We typically perform any action prompted by desire, and you have to perform it. We need to appreciate the fact the result comes from Lord, that is, it is shaped according to His laws, and thus the result is indeed prasada from Lord. Karma brahmodbhavam viddhi, brahmakshara samudbhavam, tasma sarvagatam brahma, nityam yajne pratishthitam. It is from the absolute Bhagwan, who has no beginning or end, that the Vedas emanate. The Vedas and the sacred literatures are the ones that prescribe the rules and rituals to be followed. Thus all acts of sacrifice involve and center on the absolute Bhagwan, Ishvara. So that's why acceptance of Ishvara to become a true Kurma Yogi is very critical. And then Sri Krishna continues, actually four verses before. To me that's a message that comes in the Karma Yoga. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantuva parasparam bhavayanta shreya paramavapsyata. Your sacrifice by supporting others will satisfy gods. That's why we have to support each other, because each one of us is divine. The gods in turn will satisfy your needs. What are gods? Each one of us is. By mutually supporting one another, everyone will achieve the greatest good. And again, you have a responsibility to set the example for other people in the community or family members. Yadya dacharati shreshta tattat devataro janaha sayat pramanam kurute lokas tadanu vartate. So, whatever a great man does, world follows. Whatever standards he sets, the world pursues. Responsibility is present in each and every one of us, because we are the leaders for our family. So we have to set the example for our children and the community. And the last message I remember very clearly, the one who does not offer any sacrifice to the gods by sharing with others, especially those who are in need, and enjoys those God-given gifts, is considered pakka chor, thief. Te dattan padaya bho Yo bhukte stena. Stena is chor. Stena eva sa. So you have to share with everybody. So after having that, you have to have the Ishvara Arpana Buddhi, offering our actions to Lord. There is yet another attitude by which we can diffuse the efforts of likes and dislikes. Try to give the various methods. And with that, the karmic bindings. This attitude is based upon an appreciation of Lord through submission with full faith, not just when the action results or outcome of the action again, but even before you begin your action. Shraddhavanto nasuyanto mujjate tevi karmabhi. Anyone who practices submission with full faith, without envy, you will be freed from all karmic bindings. So basically, even before you do it, you offer it to God. Not just the outcome, but even your actions, even before you perform it. Bhagwan Sri Krishna does not discuss Ishvara in the second chapter at all. He brings his importance in the third chapter, but to me he has crisply summarized in the 46th verse of the 18th chapter. Yatah pravrittir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatat swakarmana tamabhyarcham siddhim viddati madhava. The one from whom all beings have come into being, yataha bhutanam pravritti, by whom all this is pervaded, yena sarvam idam tat, worshipping him by performing austerities, swakarmana abhyarcham, because every action you need to do is to be considered as austerity because you are doing it, performing your duty. A man attains spiritual success, manavaha siddhim bhavati. The Lord is both intelligent and material cause of creation. The laws created by him, Bhagwan, are only sensed by us as human beings. The laws of dharma are also known by us in exactly the same way. Doesn't matter, even the thief knows in his heart what is right and what is wrong. Even when he is stealing, he knows he is not doing the right thing when he is stealing. Thus dharma becomes Ishwar. We worship Lord and become a true devotee by doing what is to be done in the rightful way. Thus performing our duties based upon our chosen profession and our station in life as a sansari, to the best of our abilities, one can lead this life of dharma and be a perfect samsari. It is preferable, of course, to die engaged in one's duties based upon one's own nature, guna karma vibhag, one's own nature and chosen profession, and the station in life, rather than doing something else which is unnatural. Shreyan swadharmo viguna paradharmat swadushtara swadharme nidanam shreya paradharmo bhayava. We can be ethical and moral, but only when we recognize that this is the divine creation and perform the ethical actions as the service to that Lord who created us, and recognize him as a karma phala data and exhibit the karma phala svikara samatvam, equanimity, in accepting the outcome, we become that individual who is indeed karma yoga doesn't give you knowledge. Let me come to that. You become karma yogi. Let's talk about what happens with karma yoga. By performing all actions as an offering, one develops a non-reacting mind, a mind capable of learning. That's when the knowledge comes. Experience is the best teacher, but only if one assimilates that experience without reaction. A reacting mind cannot learn. For if it is a despair, frustration, and helplessness, it is unable to see the things objectively, like a smoke that comes into nothing. Learning takes place only in those moments when our mind is not reacting, however infrequent such moments may be. When you are listening intently and your mind is not reacting, just grasping, like a soaking, like a sponge, that is when you are learning. We cannot learn when we are angry, hateful, or jealous. That's because at that particular point in time, mind is not receptive and instead reactive. Action is creative and human. You have to act. Reactions such as anger and jealousy, etc. are mechanical. It just happens. We do not become angry or hateful or jealous by choice. Those reactions occur automatically and preclude us from learning from those expectations. How do you overcome it? By recognizing that the laws that produce the results of action are not partial to one and cruel to another, we can deal with such spontaneous reactions from occurring in our future. So don't be jealous, it just happens to be, it's not partial, it's even at the end, but you need to see the entire extent of time. Only such non-reactive mind is capable of learning and gaining knowledge that is essential to understand the individual's true nature, which is none different than Brahman, Sat, Chit, Anand. Basically, again, I'll conclude where I started. The difference between Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga. Moksha, liberation, can be achieved by two different lifestyles. The sannyasi or samsari. By renunciation of all actions or become a sannyasi. By performing actions with an attitude of dispassion is Karma Yoga. By remaining samsari as we are. There is a distinct difference between karma and Karma Yoga, as I told you. The Karma Yoga indicates that individual is performing them for self-purification and creating the right frame of mind to gain that knowledge and thus liberation. Karma Yoga can be accomplished by performing actions as an offering to the Lord in the form of devotee, or bringing the body and the mind together through Ashtanga Yoga, finally reaching the state of Samadhi. Action may be performed out of joy or out of the concept of duty or as a prayer. Bhakta Yoga, Karma Yoga. When it is performed as a prayer for the sake of purifying the mind and subsequent liberation, it becomes a yoga, Bhakti Yoga. Ignorance is the root cause for false pursuit and the sense of inadequacy and sorrow. To think that one can reach heaven and overcome all the problems is a delusion. Only by gaining the knowledge of Atma or one's true nature of self can one accomplish that goal and remove that ignorance once and for all. The study of the scriptures without proper preparation of mind through Karma Yoga does not allow any individual to gain that knowledge. Both the lifestyles, either that of a sansari or sannyasi, demand proper preparation of mind and gaining that knowledge of one's true nature. Amazingly, the Lord's grace finally descends upon each one of us at the right time when you are presented with an opportunity to gain that wisdom through the scriptures under the guidance of an enlightened Guru. It just happens to appear in front of you at that point.
So a samsari pursues Karma Yoga to purify the mind so that he can gain knowledge. The person who already has the knowledge still performs Karma Yoga because it is his duty to perform. Nobody can be without performing anything. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow said, Karma Yoga, do thy duty that is best, leave unto thy Lord the rest.
Exactly.
That's what you need to do.
Absolutely.
Karma Yoga is also another way to look at it. After all, Karma Yoga is to pursue knowledge. It's a path towards knowledge. It's not knowledge itself, but it is a path towards knowledge. So when I'm going from, in the secular world, when I'm going from point A to point B, and I get lost, I turn on my GPS that tells me where I am, so that I can know where to go. So it's very useful for me. As a human being, in the spiritual path, pursuit of knowledge, I have an internal GPS. Karma Yoga is turn off your internal GPS. When you in secular work, you turn on the GPS. In the spiritual pursuit, you turn off the GPS. What is the GPS? Greed, possessiveness, and selfishness. So if you turn off your greed, your possessiveness and selfishness, you are a karma yogi. You reach the knowledge. Karma yoga is not that difficult to practice, I tell you. Because if you say, I've got to do this, when I get up in the morning, Usha has taught me how to cook now. And so it's a very relaxing, I tell you, if you haven't cooked, learn to cook. It's very relaxing. When I get up in the morning, I don't say, oh my God, I have to cook. It's a challenge. I have to do it, I do it. Willingly I do it. So that she smells the aroma coming from the kitchen and gets up. What are they cooking today? Sambar or chutney or idli or whatever that may be. So karma yoga is easier to practice if you get rid of that thing. Oh, I have to do this, I have to do it. But it is something that you have to do. Krishna, it's a mandate given by Krishna. Your duty is to act. My duty is to decide what prasad you get from your action. That's out of your hand. So karma yoga, as people say, sometimes say, bhakti yoga is easy because all I have to do is mumble some chants and then God will be pleased with me. But as I'm mumbling, my mind is not free of conflict. So it is still conflicting mind. Bhakti yoga doesn't do you much good. In a bhakti yoga, when you surrender yourself, sharanagati, that means you accept whatever comes out as a prasad, which is karma yoga.
Exactly.
So some people say, I just follow bhakti yoga, they can really understand what bhakti yoga means. A karma yogi by necessity is a bhakti yogi. A bhakti yogi by definition is a karma yogi. They're two, not two different things. Very important chapter. I really think one should pay a lot of attention to Krishna's teaching in the role of the individual in the wheel of life. He talks about yajna in chapter 3. It is your duty to be a perfectly aligned cog in the wheel of life. And if you don't, if you step outside, you create disharmony. And that is adharma, Krishna says. To lead a life of dharma so that you don't disturb the harmony of the universe, which is created by Ishvara, you have to be a karma yogi. So karma yoga has many, many different interpretations. But the basic interpretation is, do what you have to do as a duty. Do not shirk from duty. That's karma yoga. And now the only question that arises is, what is my duty? Well, that depends on the stage of life. There's a certain duty when you're a brahmachari, there are certain duties when you're a grihastha, certain duties when you're a sannyasi, when you're a vanaprasthi, etc., etc. And then you might ask, what is the duty of a grihastha? Well, that again depends on the situation that you are in. Every situation calls for you to act in a certain way, and then yoga, karmasu, kaushalam. Use your discrimination in action. And then yoga, samatvam, yoga uchyate. The ability to receive the result of your action as a prasad from God is samatvam. You do not react one way or the other. You just take it. Very good discussion. It's probably one of the most beautiful chapters in Bhagavad Gita, in chapter 3. I think every verse requires you to sit back and think, what does it mean? Again, when I read Bhagavad Gita, I always ask, what does it mean to me? If it doesn't mean much to me, I'm not interested in it. You see? If something is not of relevance to you, you discard it. But if you read and think about it, you find it is very applicable to you. Very much. It's a way of life for you. it tells you. So I think if you take that attitude and read chapter 3 carefully, I think it's a fantastic chapter.
I think just to complete what you're saying is exactly you have to do the actions which are appropriate for your station in life, the lifestyle that you have chosen, samsara, sannyasi, and do it according to dharma. But the most important thing is our happiness or unhappiness comes because of our mind reacts to the outcome. So as long as you are able to accept the outcome with evenness, prasannata, knowing where it is coming from, then it's easy to accept. I think most important to remember, there is no partiality in the world. But once we start saying that somebody has got more than you, then you start thinking that you should be getting something more and you are unhappy. Remember, the beggar in that play and the king in the play is basically the same divinity that is there. So it doesn't make any difference, because when they're fast asleep, they don't see the difference. So recognizing that when you are awake is the smart thing to do. I think.
I understand cheerfulness is karma yoga. My name is Prasanna, you know.
I know. I know.
I fully understand what karma yoga means.
That's what your mother gave you the name for.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll understand. No, I think.
But you know, here's a practical thing. Even if you're aware that you should practice karma yoga, there are occasions when you slip.
Haranti prasabam mana.
Yeah.
So even when you have gained the knowledge, you constantly have to keep yourself in the position. You can read the stories of rishis all over that, they're falling apart. Haranti prasabam mana. So when you are performing the prayers, typically you do prayers when you are artha, because you got pain, appearing for examination, you come to the temple. Or you come there because you are artharthi, because I want to have something more, got promotion or this kind of, so do the Satyanarayana Puja. Or then you are jidnyasu, you get kind of curious, maybe this might give me happiness. And that's why you come to listen to the discussions and participate in that. But at the same time, the real person who does the thing is jnani. Having gained the knowledge, he or she knows that you still have to pursue it. So that's the key part.
So that's something we have to keep in mind. Dr. Sane has emphasized over and over and over again. Jogged my memory and wrote it down here. There are many stages to purity through karma yoga. One of them is purity or shuddhi of the mind, inquiry, to constantly vichara, constantly ask yourself questions, and knowledge. Finally, it becomes knowledge. Knowledge is not knowledge until it becomes part of you.
It becomes a second nature.
Yeah, that's very important to understand. Because I sit there, when Dr. Sane last time discussed very eloquently how I am not to be confused with my body, my mind, or intellect, but I am really pure awareness. I heard it. I remember that, pure awareness and pure awareness.
So,
but where is it showing that knowledge is not expressed in my actions? If that knowledge is not expressed in my actions, it is not knowledge. It's merely hearing here and leaving it there. There is no shravana. Shravana is there. There is no manana, no nididhyasa. So, listening to the discourse is now step number one, but that's not enough. Vichara, as he said, inquiry is very important. That leads to jnana. Once the jnana comes, it never goes away. Never goes away. Don't touch the hot stove. The kid puts the finger. Once the finger gets burned, that knowledge is etched in permanently on the heart. That knowledge should be there. And how does that knowledge expresses itself outside? Turn off your GPS. Don't be greedy. Don't be possessive. Don't be selfish. Advesha sarvabhutana. Maitra karuna yoja. All of those qualities will automatically come only if you have completely understood the meaning of karma yoga. Otherwise, it's book knowledge is okay, it's good too. It's better than reading something which produces nothing in your mind. At least this one gives you some comfort, some solace, some guide, some idea of how to pursue life. So, it's a constant vigilance.
I think another thing also equally important is to stay in the right company. You stay with people who are pursuing the same direction. You will be able to maintain the correct direction. Satsangatve nitsangat promise. So you have to maintain that, because if you get into bad company, you can be led astray. So that's very important to do that. You feel very lucky